Okay, thanks, David. So I'm Riley Zipper, the project manager at StatsAmerica. I'm joined by Carol Rogers, our co-director. And then leading the feedback session will be Jennifer Young, our user engagement and experience specialist. And I and Michael Hollingsworth may also step in there during the feedback session. So I am recording this session. It will be available after the webinar is over on StatsAmerica's website. So like David said, we do encourage you to use the chat box to give questions, to ask questions or give feedback during the demo. And then we'll cover these during the second part of the session, the feedback. So when you go to the StatsAmerica page and you click on the Regionizer, you're presented with this landing page. And the Regionizer is a really cool tool that you can use to build custom regions, and it can cross state lines, out of counties, that you can view 4 different types of reports on. So here at StatsAmerica, we have a lot of tools that are about regions, and this one is more than any other about regions. So you would select a state to start, and you can build custom regions made out of counties that are contiguous or not. There are 4 types of data reports available: commuting, demographics, occupations, and industries. You can compare your region's demographics and then download a data report in Word or Excel formats. So just a 3-step process there. As we say here, it's really easy to get started, and we're going to get started right here with Carol Rogers. We'll give a live demonstration of the tool. I will stop sharing my screen and.
Okay, thank you so much, Riley. Hi, everybody. This is Carol Rogers, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with everyone so that I can take you online. And we're going to go on a Regionizer adventure with everybody this afternoon. We're going to keep this pretty tight. We'd like to limit the demos to around 10 or 15 minutes. I encourage you to go ahead to the StatsAmerica site. As we all know, as Zoom users these days, you can do a little bit of multitasking. Rather than look at email, how about you go on your own to the Regionizer and play right along. Hey, we could make this a multiplayer game, couldn't we? I'm showing you right now the StatsAmerica homepage, and we provide different ways for you to be able to find what you need. So you can enter StatsAmerica by thinking about if you want innovation and performance indicators, if you want to explore profiles, or use very specific tools like the measuring distress tool that is heavily used by folks looking for grant thresholds for potential EDA projects. You can also look for things based on what's most popular on StatsAmerica, and we base most of this on our usage analytics, and the Regionizer is available in that most popular group. Or you can look by list and just get a straight up sitemap list to find what you need, or see some annotation about the various tools that we have available. And the Regionizer is considered a profile tool. And so we have that listed under the profiles, as well as the other information available. So I encourage you to browse StatsAmerica. We also like to give a shout out to others who are making great regional resources available. And all of those could be useful to you in your work. So I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the Regionizer and just show you essentially how it works. Because you can cross state lines if you want to in your work, you can pick a place, say like Florida, and if you want to look just within Florida at a couple of counties, or you can deselect, it's all basically your mouse and the map. And you choose which counties you want. It could be a region of the mind. So thinking about, say, I want to put together a region, quote unquote, that may be all manufacturing counties or counties that are heavy in retirement age population. I'm looking at Florida, so I think about that. And what you will have noticed, I hope, is how quickly the tool responds as I select and deselect counties that I might want. And what's happening is that it will show me as the first profile, the commuting data for an area. Work for people looking at labor sheds, people who are in workforce and economic development, businesses who are looking for labor supply will find the commuting data really useful because it can tell you very quickly in this top line data point what percent of residents who have jobs also work in this case, in Baker or Baker, Florida. So only 45% of people in Baker, Florida actually both live and work in that county. So that tells me right away that it's a county that people are commuting from to their jobs. And what's handy about this is that we give you some top line measures to help you see how many people are both living and working in this county and how many people are commuting into or out of it. We also provide details, so we're going to show the top 10 counties that commute from Baker County, into which counties are they commuting. And the biggest one is Duval, Florida, followed by Columbia and Union. But we can also see which counties are sending workers into Baker County. And we can see actually that it varies quite a bit. The highest sender of workers is Duval County. So right away, I know a few things about Baker and Duval County. And to any Floridians who are on the webinar today, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. What I see is that there's a lot of interaction between Baker and Duval. And that's telling me that they are supplying each other with labor. What you can do then with the map is that we can also, as you hover over a county, it'll tell you the county name. I can add Duval and Baker County together to see their combined residents and resident workers and workforce. And here we see that over 90% of that resident population that is employed work and commute, live and commute in just those two counties. So this is helpful in terms, again, of looking at your labor shed, your supply of workers, and how much commuting is already going on in that particular area. The other thing to note is that you can cross state lines. Riley, you mentioned that earlier. And when I cross over here, well, actually, I'm still in Florida here. If I add in Charlton, Georgia, I can see that there's a lot of commuting that goes on in those four counties. And you can keep adding counties and watching that indicator there to see if it changes. And we can probably get it to change quite a bit if we add in Polk. Not a lot. This is the region that's really tight. I can clear out the map, and if I want to, I can pick a different state. Hawaii might be intriguing to look at in terms of commuting. No surprise here that most of the residents both live and work in Hawaii County. But then we also see that it increases. There is actual commuting between those counties in Hawaii. I'm going to flip up here. I think I'll go to, let's go to Colorado. And this is always interesting. As you get further west, the counties are much bigger geographically. Commuting means something very different to people in the West than it does to people on the East Coast or the Southern Midwestern states, because you've got a longer drive. So looking at how tight the commuting shed is going to be driven a little bit by the distance that people have to go. And so again, I just want to show you how quickly the tool works, how you can use it to explore things and learn a little something about the commuting shed in any area across the country. You can also switch tabs and get a demographic report that gives you baseline numbers in terms of how big the place is that you've selected in your particular report. And Jennifer, as our new UX person, I think we want to note that when people change counties, it's flipping back to the default report, and we'll want to do something to keep them on page. We give you information about the educational status of the population in the area, which can serve as a kind of a skills equation, higher skilled versus lower skilled. And we also give some basic economic facts about the area in terms of unemployment rate. This is updated every month as the latest file becomes available from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They will be releasing the December unemployment rates for all counties across the country on February 3rd. So you can expect that on that day, we will then have December 2020 showing in this profile. We also have data on occupation clusters, and I'm going to make this screen a little bit larger, zoom in a little bit here for us. And what we're doing here is we've clustered the 800 plus occupation codes that are defined by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And we've clustered those into around 50 or 60 groupings to make it a little bit easier to digest the information here and see which clusters of occupations that are similar to each other, which ones have the highest or lowest employment. Currently, the automatic sort is on employment size, so the highest to the lowest. You can click that column if you want to see the lowest employment clusters. And you can do the same thing with wages to see which ones are the lowest wage occupation clusters, as well as click it again, and you can get the highest wages in that particular area. And you're probably not going to see any surprises. I like to say that a lot of the data that we make available isn't necessarily a surprise to somebody, but it does give you a hard fact to use in grant applications, in presentations to steering committees or boards or clients, so that you have greater precision around the numbers or around the topic that you might be talking about. One of the handy features with the Regionizer is that you can also download the data. So you can export it as an Excel file and then pull that file up on your local machine and then do other things with the data if you wanted to create graphs or maps out of the data. You're going to be able to do that with the information that's provided, and it is going to be the sum of the region. So again, the Regionizer, so it's going to include those counties that you selected. And you can also download it as a Word file if you wanted to include it in a report. the data will be right there for you. We do the same thing with industry clusters. So again, we can see which industries, and these are clusters based in large part on the Harvard clusters that you see in the US cluster mapping.us tool. We refer them often as the Porter clusters because Michael Porter at Harvard was the one who developed these. And we've made some slight modifications to these clusters, and we describe what we've done down at the bottom in the source note. And we include, or we construct these clusters based on our own estimates at the 6-digit NAICS level of industries. And so we've created what we call a no holes or a complete set of NAICS code based employment and wages so that we can actually add up to these clusters and not run into those pesky disclosure problems. You know, when you're using the data and it says D, not disclosed. Again, you can click to sort and see which are the lowest paying or highest paying jobs. Metal mining in this particular area, not a surprise, high wage, but really low employment. Not a surprise with that. You'll have better luck getting a high wage job that's in information tech. Or electric utilities usually are pretty high. Again, the low employment, business services wages are not shabby. And for any of us who are giving advice to teenagers who are applying to college for the coming fall semester, you might want to use this tool to show them where are the high paying jobs so that they can afford the lifestyle that you may have gotten them used to.